Coach, you and I are just talking about it was, I think, a great high school football game. It was a great venue. I know the fans and such, everybody had to wait, but in the end, it had to have been a lot of fun to watch you guys walk off the field with such a great victory.
Yeah, I think, it was worth the wait. It was one of those things where you had to figure out – it was really taxing for coaches. I'm sure it was for Coach Padgett too, trying to figure out, what do we do with these guys during all this free time, and fortunately we came out pretty hyped up and ready to go, and we were amped up really well the first half. Second half, I think about 11 o'clock at night, we started hitting a lull mentally, but credit to Centerville, man. They fought and it was a hard-hitting game. I felt like both teams really laid it all out there. So, I think, it was every bit the battle that we thought it would be.
And you know what? You knew they were going to make a run, right?
Yes, sir. I did, and I knew they probably had some things they were going to do that we hadn't seen on film, and I think when we approach a game, I try to approach it with a fun mentality and not a I'm going to kill us to win, kind of thing, and so we tried some different things and tried to do some things a little different second half, and more or less just for fun, just to change things up and see what we could do, and I felt like some of those things worked, some of those things we weren't ready for yet, so we switched out of it pretty quick and got back into a rhythm. But for the most part, I think across the board, it was a great physical game. Their defensive end, I don't know how he's doing it, but every year he seems to have that one defensive end that's really good. As number 81, I don't remember his name, but the kid played hard. He played physical, and he was a tough read. And I felt like the 19, the linebacker, I thought he played real physical all night and hard. And there was just so many kids on his team that he should be proud of, and that I was proud to play against, and I was proud of how our kids played too. So all in all, it was a good game.
Hey, by the way, how did you get to that? When you look back at it now, how did you get out to that 19-0 lead?
I think we just came out a little more amped up than they were initially. Some of that has to do with the type of kid we have. They're just kind of squirrely anyway. They're fun to be around. So downtime for us turns into joke time and fun time. So I think that kind of keeps them from getting tired. But clearly everybody was taxed after that first half, and mentally it's hard to keep that level going all the time. And we knew going into it that if we could get ahead, with the style of offense that they run, it was going to be a little harder for them to put points on the board. So we had to try to jump on them fast, and thank God we did, because but then they get the interception, going into the end zone. That could have been another nail that we could have put in the coffin. We missed an opportunity there, and so it was one of those things where. Getting out to the lead was more or less, I think we just started faster. And I don't really think it was anything they did wrong, as much as we just brought a little more energy early. But they kept the energy pretty even keel throughout the whole game, and that's where they caught us, Exactly.
Coach, let me ask you, just from the standpoint too, coaches, you have to make split decisions, you have to make them quick, and they decided to kick late. Were you surprised they kicked it late in the ball game, and then you got the return by Mason for the touchdown?
I got to be honest with you, I don't know. It was one of those things where when I saw it, I thought, well, but to be honest with you, I've been in situations like that, and I wouldn't want anybody saying, why would I do that? There's a million things that go through your mind. You got to think how your defense is playing. You got to think how your special teams have been going all week. There's so many factors involved, and I'm sure that he put all those factors together and came up with the best ideas. So, no, I didn't think much other than when Mason ran by me, I said, thank God. That's the only thing I thought. Mason did a great job, and the guys out there blocking did a great job. It certainly wasn't what we expected. It could have caught us off guard big time. So it was, I don't question another coach's calls, because I got to tell you, everybody could question mine any week,
Well, I told him, I said, listen, there's no doubt. I would never question any coach, because you just sometimes got to go by gut feeling and just kind of go with what you feel.
Yeah, and sometimes you can get a flow and a rhythm, and you just think, this is going to work, and sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. And I don't know that I wouldn't beat myself up over it, because there were a lot of great decisions they made during that game, and there's a lot of other factors involved that came up to that point to where that could crush what you're doing,
Exactly.
So and we try to stress that all the time to kids. You make a mistake, is that one play. You got to focus on the next one, and all those other plays adding up to that point are the culmination of what happens in the game. It's not just that one decision at that one particular time. There's a lot of junk that happened up to that point. So they played awesome. I thought it was a great game on both sides of the ball. And I was really impressed with, to be honest with you, after the game I didn't feel as good until I watched film. And then when I watched film, I realized, look at all the great things that we got better at in 1 week. and we fixed, and that just gives me a lot of hope because our goal is to be the best by the time we get to sectional play time, and so hopefully if we can keep maintaining that progression, I think we're going to be in really good shape.
You finally get to come home. I know it seems like it's been forever since you played in your home field. Talk about Friday night, a Union City football team that, boy, you just don't overlook.
No, you don't, because they're physical and they're fast, and you know, they don't have great numbers. Their roster isn't huge, but the kids they have, man, they fly around, and they really, you know, coach, you never know exactly what you're going to get with them, because he'll switch a few things up on you and throw some surprises at you. So it's an exciting week to prepare, because we're still like 3 weeks in a row. We just don't know what we're going to get, you know. So we just got to work on the little things and get better at what we do, and then adjust on the fly, I assume. But I know that they're going to come prepared, and I know they're going to come physical. Last year it was a physical game with them, and they're aggressive kids, and they work really hard. You can tell, you know, at getting good at what they do, and so I assume they'll be another week better. So, and they played Monroe Central 21. It was just 21 points, and a few things could have went their way. It could have been a lot different from what I saw. So I know they're hungry to win, and everybody seems to be hungry to try to be, you know, to every week for us. So we get everybody's best shot. So I think we just have to stay focused on. We get to play in front of a home crowd. It's our first home game, and you know, maybe we can demonstrate being just a little bit better than we were last week.
Hey, before I let you go physically, how'd you guys come out of Saturday's game?
Well, I think probably the same as Centerville did. Everybody's a little sore, but you know, that's what happens when you have those kind of games. And unfortunately for us, we got another physical team coming up, so we got to lighten up and then amp up again, and hopefully we can do that. The kids responded well, though. I think practice yesterday wasn't as good as it could have been, but JV played a game the night before, and there's just a whole lot of factors involved. Like we said, you know, a lot of factors in just one thing. But I think we're healthy, we're in good shape, and I think as long as we can maintain that. I mean, it's really, you know, our big thing is making sure we're in the weight room all the time, make sure we're doing maintenance on our muscles and all those joints and everything, and injury prevention stuff. So hopefully that's paying off.